Perfect. Okay, everything is recording.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this panel thing. If we're doing introductions, I'm gonna go first. My name is Izzy. I'm the president of POW. And I'll just make it quick. So I'm a senior. I'm graduating just a few months. Yes, very exciting.
I can go.
Congratulations.
I'm Adia. I'm a part of POW, and I do email marketing for POW, and I'm also graduating in a few months.
That's awesome. Thank you, Aria. Oh, sorry.
I can go.
Yeah, you can go.
My name is Judy. I am a junior, senior. I don't know. I'm graduating in one more semester. Almost there.
That's awesome. My name's Peter. I'm part of Mobs. I do marketing for Mobs. I am not graduating yet. I'm still a junior, but I'm finishing up my junior year, and hopefully after next year I will have graduated.
I'm Brianna. I'm a senior and I'm studying international business. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am Roxana. I am the VP for POW, and I'm also a senior graduating in May. Super excited. The burnout is real right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. So very excited to graduate.
Hi. Oh, you can go. Oh, thank you. Hi, my name is Luvad. I'm junior, majoring in biochemistry, and I'm also part of POW.
Hi, my name is Shaila. This is my third year, and I'm studying general business.
Wow, you guys are amazing. It sounds like a lot of you are like ending towards the end of your college career. What is giving you guys the most anxiety?
Getting a job. I just really need one. One of those.
The quintessential college story, right? Yeah. What do you think is the biggest hurdle to getting a job? Just getting your name out there or just putting yourself out there? What do you think is really like you're most scared of?
That's a good question. I think for me it's the rejection part. Maybe I feel like I'm not putting myself out there enough to where reaching my full potential to where I know I could be, because I'm just going to keep it safe to where I know I can maybe get this role, and kind of downplaying my abilities, so to speak. I think yeah, so just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I think like fresh out of college, I was kind of talking about that. I think for me is, the way that I rationalized a lot of that is I can't be any worse or any more jobless than I am right now. So what is the risk versus what is the reward? And, we as individuals have so much more emotional intelligence than we think that we do. It's just that we get in our own way. And we are, especially as women and gentlemen, but especially women, I think that we talk ourselves out of positions that we don't think that we can do. And I just want to encourage you, especially as you guys are thinking about, next steps, don't be afraid to be fearless. Don't be afraid to really put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to advocate and sell yourself. I think that that's the hardest thing that we, don't do, is we don't advocate for ourselves and we don't sell our skill set. You guys can absolutely, look at the organization that you guys run right now. This is incredible. Like already that experience that you guys have and all of the things that you've learned in college, I just really want to encourage you guys to just be fearless. And like I said, really use that rational part of your brain to say, I can't be any more jobless than I am right now. What do I have to lose? You know, and a lot of times you'll make great connections, even if you don't get the job. Half of the, half of the learning experience is the interview process, because you really do learn how to sell yourself in the interview process. And the more interviews that you go on, you know, the better you're honing that skill. And, you know, I've just learned so much about myself in that interview process. So, you know, go on as many as you can, apply for as many jobs as you can for companies that you actually care about or like. And I just really encourage that.
Thank you so much. I had a quick question. So relating more to the healthcare project management, what you do, what skills do you think are most important for someone interested in the healthcare industry?
So specifically, if you wanted to be like a healthcare project manager?
Yeah.
Or just in, you know, I think that in healthcare, it's really great to have a dynamic skill set. I think like a lot of people think that you have to have like a clinical background to be in healthcare, and that's not necessarily true. You know, a lot of it has to do with, it takes all kinds to run a company, and that's still what healthcare is. It's still a company, and so you still have to, at the end of the day, break even if you're a nonprofit healthcare system. And so having a business mindset and having those core skill sets is really important. And so if you have either of those, you know, it doesn't necessarily make you successful. What makes you successful is your ability to connect and lead people and be able to move the needle forward, because that's what we have to do, is move the needle forward. And we have to make sure that, you know, throughput happens for our patients, and throughput is so incredibly dynamic and really complicated. And so it really takes so many different skill sets to really make that happen. And so I think that the types of skill sets that we look for are people who are emotionally intelligent, highly organized. I think that people who can speak to each other. You know, we're not the kind of company that, you know, throws sandwiches under the door where you don't have to interact with other people. We really need people who can talk to so many diverse groups of people, because you really have to task switch, especially in the project management world. You're dealing with C-suite, you're dealing with physicians, you're dealing with IT, you're trying to really move the needle with so many different, you know, core skill set or core types of people. And so the people who are really are emotionally intelligent. They're able to connect with those teams and move that needle. So I definitely think that those are some of the core skills that you really need. Being a people person is really important.
Thank you, Kayla, for answering that.
Hi, everyone. I just joined your group. I got the end of your answer, Kayla. I don't know what the question was, but you talked about emotional intelligence. That is the first time I'm hearing. I mean, I obviously know what it is, but that's the first time I've heard it be brought up in a I don't think I've ever had a Zoom event where that's been brought up. And I think that's really important to talk about, especially being in healthcare, where you might be dealing with people in very high crisis moments, you know, like it's life or death literally sometimes, and it's hard to navigate that. How do you deal with that in your personal experience?
Yeah, I can give you an exact example of how that is incredibly true in the industry that I work on. Just this week on Monday, we purchased a X-ray machine in our trauma OR, and it cost $5 million, this special X-ray machine. So we brought it in and cost $5 million, and everybody thought that, you know, all the project managers on the project thought everything was, you know, perfectly considered. And one thing they didn't account for is the human aspect. Surgeon that has to stand and where he stands. And the x-ray machine, when it was in production, smacked the surgeon in the head and he fell unconscious. And we had this whole, huddle about whether we get rid of the $5 million machine or, how we rework this entire project that everybody thought was, completely foolproof. And, having to deal with finance, who said, we've just allocated $5 million worth of resource for this. You guys better figure it out. And the physicians who are saying it's unsafe for our patients, and having to connect with them, working with our nurses, our SPD team, which is our sterile processing department. It just really takes a dynamic person like, somebody with a high emotional intelligence who can connect with these different, audiences and really do this crisis management. And, that's what I'm talking about, is anybody can have a PMP, which is a project manager professional certification. Anybody can have a business degree. Anybody can have these, certifications. And what we look for as an organization is the people who can be dynamic, who can act with alacrity. I don't know if you guys know what alacrity is, but alacrity, I think, is so important in today's day and age, because alacrity is speed with intelligence. And you really have to make decisions fast, but intelligently. And that's what our companies are having to do, more and more with social media. You do something wrong, you have to react quick. And if you react wrong, your entire reputation can go up in flames. And so when you talk about, this instant response that you have to have, that's why emotionally intelligent people are really successful, because they know how to move with alacrity is the best way that I can explain it. And so I know that us as an organization, we really look for these kind of people who can lead, people who can really move the needle, and remove all of the political red tape and things like that. They have to be dynamic in that facet.
I'm definitely writing that word down and using it on my resume now. I think a lot of us can relate here, being college students. Most of us have worked a waitressing job or a customer service job that requires that. And now we can, thanks to Kayla, can use that word to spiff up our resume to make those skills transferable to other ones. So thank you, Kayla, for that.
Yeah, and I really encourage you to leverage that in the interview process. People just think oh, well, I was just a waitress and those skills don't translate. They absolutely do. It's just you need to find a way to articulate that in the interview process. Because when you have that ability to think fast, when you have that ability to see multiple perspectives, all of those are core skills that organizations are really starting to value. And there's this shift from, a degree is end all be all. That's it. What we're really looking for is, yes, that degree is important because it's giving you this fundamental skill set, but what we also need are these really dynamic individuals too. And that's what sets you, your resume at the top.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad I joined in when I did. I'm going to join another group, but you guys continue the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Tamara. All right.
So I think we left off talking about what we were scared about, for graduating. And I would say it's two things. One, I call this my first big girl job. That's kind of intimidating. I'm a waitress right now, but I need a big girl job. And then two, I want to work at the right company. I don't want to I don't want to hate my first job, but I've been getting lots of good advice on how to pick the right one. So that's just me.
Yeah, well, first of all, don't be afraid to put on your big girl panties and go out there and get the best job ever. I completely agree that, hey, passion is really so subjective. And, maybe, you know, waitressing is exactly right, you know, for some people. My mom was a waitress for 30 years. My dad was a truck driver for 30 years. They found incredible passion in those things. You know, I think that everybody has to find their own calling, and that is so subjective. Some people who see like a corner office in New York City is their ideal dream job. They're doing exactly what they love. They love taking their tennis shoes, you know, on the subway every day and getting to that corner office. But then there's also some people who are milking cows in Minnesota or whatever, and they're finding extreme happiness there. I think that you really need to do a lot of introspection to see where your passion, you know, really comes from. Because for me, you know, I'm a data nerd. I love that. I like working with people. I have such a weird, like, passionate, you know, skill set, things that feed and drive me and feed my soul. But everybody's journey is so different. And I know that is like something that's so subjective and so personal. And don't let anybody tell you, even like your parents, you have to be a lawyer or you'll never find passion in your career. It's like it's so subjective, and you make your own, you know, decision on that.
No shame to the people that like waitressing. I personally hate it. So I'm looking forward to my big girl job, but it's just the transition where I'm like, oh shoot, like I call out of that place all the time. But like I'm actually gonna care about like I'm a good worker. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But
no, I love that it's so honest. And it's so true.
Really
it's
caring about like my job and like investing, like that's my career. This is like my part-time hometown job.
Yeah, and you know, I think I said it before, it's so subjective. If you know, like, you're not giving a shit or you don't put your all into it all the time, that's not your dream job, or that's not your ideal career. You're never going to have a job where every single day is great and every day is glorious. But if you know that you care and you're giving it your all, you're in the right job for you, you know. Oh, sorry, you got 5 minutes. Well, does anybody else have any questions for me?
I have a question, but I already went, so I want to give someone else a chance, maybe, if anybody wanted to ask.
I have a question on, like, you were talking about mentors earlier, and I kind of was stuck on the idea. I hear it and I don't think it's right, but like you find your one person and that's your mentor, but like how do you go about finding your mentors?
I don't know if this is the exact right, the right answer, but I know it's been right for me. So, you know, all of my mentors have been rooted in, you know, friendships and an overall admiration for that person, I think, or not even admiration, just respect for that person. And the people that I've really resonated for are the people that that I've sought out and just asked them for advice. I was very authentic with them. I think that a lot of mentorships are rooted in authenticity. Is this is what I'm struggling with. I see that you're really great at it. How can I do better? Do you have any advice? Do you know, I always like sought out the people that I wanted to learn from them. And I think that that's really how I acquired so many different mentors, is by asking them and being really authentic and saying, this is something I'm struggling with. You do it so well. Do you mind, you know, showing me some tips of the trade? And then, you know, it gets so authentic from there. You know, I think that that's really how I've acquired a lot of mentors.
Yeah, I actually also had a little question too. I was kind of interested, like hearing about your background. Like, did you go kind of directly into like a big industry, or did you kind of first like have more of those like internship type experiences, mentorship experiences to kind of gain like experience, or you just kind of like jump headfirst into the industry and just had to like figure out a way, like figure things out? I was just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, so I had a couple of like, I've worked since I was 13, but I had a couple of restaurant jobs, retail jobs, things like that. But my first real big girl job was at that large healthcare consulting firm. And so I didn't have any internships to fall back on. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't have a robust resume. I had worked at TGI Fridays, and I really, really went for it. And I think I sold myself in that interview. And I really, to this day, believe that, that authentic, like, I can do this job. There is nobody that can do this job better than me, really helped land that position for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've just been kind of wondering about that myself, kind of like trying to break into, the big world of like larger corporations, like real jobs as they call them. And yeah, that's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, the human connection is so powerful in an interview, and being able to articulate how you are uniquely qualified for that position. And it doesn't have to be a certain, certification that makes you uniquely qualified. The reason why is because I align with X, Y, and Z that your company does. I have an extreme passion for it. Those are the things that your company really wants to hear. They want to hear that you know about them, you care about them, and that's why you and how your skill set aligns with what they do. And so I think like really doing your research is extremely important in securing those jobs and making yourself uniquely qualified for that position.
Yeah, it's really valuable. Actually, I was wondering, like, would you suggest more, like, when like looking for jobs, like, would you suggest more focusing on a smaller set of companies, or trying to like go and apply to many companies to like better your chances, kind of like the law of numbers effectively?
Yeah, I know a lot of people say like, it's a numbers game, but I think that, you don't really want to put in 1 million applications at places that you really don't want to work for. What you want to do is expend your energy in really building your resume, or, making yourself uniquely qualified for, the jobs that you actually really want. But more often than not, you put together a great portfolio when you start doing that, and you get really good at it. And then you start finding other jobs that you're like, oh my gosh, this job has the same title as this place. And then, you're ready for that job. But it's just really important to make sure that you're applying for companies that you actually care about and you actually want to work at, not just, a numbers game. Because if you get into, like a small boutique firm and maybe they're just a startup, you might be miserable your first 2 years. Not saying that startups are wrong for anybody, but it's just making sure that you've found the right dynamic for you, the right culture.
Yeah, that's very valuable. Interview the company as well as have them interview you, basically.
Exactly, and you have nothing to lose ever. You're never worse off, and if anything, you're better off if you've tried, right? You've gained something. You've put something else in your suitcase.
That's awesome.
Roxana, do you want to go ahead with yours?
Yeah, thank you. I always like asking people this. Is there anything you wish you would have told younger you while starting out in your career?
I really wish I would have told myself, don't be afraid to fail. I think that one thing that I learned is there is an intuition that we all have, and sometimes, like I said, we're our worst critic. And there's been some really, really great ideas that I didn't submit that I really, really wish I had because I was intimidated, or I thought, oh, maybe this is kind of a stupid idea. There's no wrong answers. It's all in delivery. And if you really think about how you're delivering something, the intent that you're trying to achieve there, go for it, say it, and learn from it. I'm in a newer position right now that I have a lot of white space that I'm operating in. And I've just made it like literally on my lead goals, which is our, evaluations, to not be afraid to fail this year and just go for it. And we've ended up saving over like $10 million in the first 3 months by just a couple of ideas that I threw at the board and operated in white space on. So just be fearless and learn from it. When you fail, you only fail forward.
Thank you. I love that. I'm going to start saying that. I only fell forward.
Yeah,
I
take that.
wanted to
Steal
ask,
that quote.
yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask if any of us wanted to connect with you after this, what was the best way to do that?
Yeah, contacted me on LinkedIn, on my email, on my personal email, on my Instagram. I'm a talker, as you guys can see, so send a smoke signal if you want. You guys have questions, I'll answer it, So absolutely happy to help. I wish I would have had an organization when I was growing up, not growing up, but when I was in college, and had a support system like this, because I think that had I learned all this information a lot longer, I can't even imagine like what I would have been able to achieve. But this is amazing, an amazing support system for you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm sure I completely agree. I think we're doing, I gain, so every single day I was just talking to Izzy about this, that we do so many little things that we don't realize that we can articulate in a certain way when we are trying to enter our career or, interviewing for a new job. So it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're leaving in 60 seconds, but I know that you and I, Roxana, have talked about that too, as you were kind of nervous for an interview, and we went through, a practice run, and I'm like, Roxana, you've already done all of these things, and you just have to learn how to articulate it. So do a lot of research on how to articulate your skill set, especially right out of college, because you have so many more skills than you think that you do.
Yeah, definitely always helpful. Thank you so much, Kayla. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Totally.
That looks like
See you guys back in the main room.
Hi.
See you.
Yeah, thank you.